So picking back up on this Romans 14 topic, we see here that, Paul's telling us don't dispute over doubtful things because there's no law on fasting, essentially. And so what he says here in verse 2 is that some people who will eat vegetables when they're fasting and some won't. And then in verse 3, he says, don't despise someone that eats on a particular day when you fast, and don't despise someone that fasts on a particular day when you don't. Like, it's nothing to fight about. Here in verse 5, it says, one person esteems one day above another, and another esteems every day alike. Let each be fully convinced in his own mind. This isn't changing the topic. This is talking about certain days that are observed back then as days of fasting. Some people chose other days over other days. And he's saying don't dispute over it because there is no law on when to fast or how to fast. In verse 6, he says, he who observes the day observes it to Yahweh, and he who does not observe the day to Yahweh, he does not observe it. It's basically just saying it's okay. If they don't want to fast that day, it's fine. He who eats to Yahweh, for he gives Yah thanks, and he who does not eat to Yahweh, he does not eat and gives Yah thanks. So we see here the day here is this in the green highlighted text is sandwiched between this yellow text that was before and above it that's talking about eating and not eating. And so we can thus get the whole context that it's talking about eating and has nothing to do about, as long as you don't dispute with somebody, you can eat whatever you want. No, because there is no law on fasting, but there is a law on what particular animals you can and cannot eat. That's in Leviticus chapter 11. And so, again, I'm going to remind everyone, why is this important? That is because in Isaiah 66, it describes the second coming of Messiah. And it says that he comes with a fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his displeasure with a burning and his rebuke with flames of fire. And it says, for by fire and by his sword Yahweh shall judge all flesh, and the slain of Yahweh shall be many, those who set themselves apart and cleanse themselves at the gardens after one in the midst. Eating the flesh of pigs and the abomination and the mouse, they are snatched away together, declares Yahweh. You have to ask yourself, why do so many Christians ignore God's law and this kind of prophecy when it is of dire need for them to know the truth?